Baku City Circuit is a popular addition to the FSR calendar for 2019, playing host to round 3 of the World Championship. This street circuit offers an enjoyable challenge for the drivers and contains many tricky corners, such as the downhill turn 15 and the incredibly narrow castle section at turns 8, 9 and 10. Ratcheting up the difficulty level, drivers must tackle those corners with low downforce, as the 2.2km pit straight sees the biggest overtaking opportunities on track. This variation makes setting up the car a massive challenge for all teams involved. For those expecting a Baku surprise in qualifying, they weren't disappointed. After 2 races out, the Russian Kirill Birakov burst back onto the scene by taking a surprise pole position for Invictus. Championship leader Jurnej Simoncic lines up just behind in second, ahead of Danny Kish and Michele D'Alessandro. Martin Gosby in 5th heads Ricardo Costa in 6th, continuing Ori Miller's impressive start to the season. Michi Hoyer lines up in 7th, ahead of Petr Burlak, who was disappointed with 8th, ahead of Robin Panzar in 9th, whilst Mohamed Patel once again struggled and qualified just inside the top 10. Christian Lazaro came close to getting 2 Invictus cars in the top 10, whilst Pave, Kalash, Lukaszek and Kazdorp all started the back due to penalties, the latter of which starting from the pit lane. With an unusual starting order, the scene was certainly set for a fascinating Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Lights out, and Simoncic got the better launch with a chance to snatch the lead immediately. Birakov got his braking all wrong trying to hold it around the outside, and as a result of this, he dropped to 4th. However, the start went a lot worse for Janos Brakshock as he locked his rears at turn 2, hitting the wall hard. Down towards turn 3, and Birakov tried to repass D'Alessandro, but then had his hands full by keeping Costa behind. The Russian stood his ground, and Costa could not find a way past. Brakshock tried to make his way back to the pits, but with no front wing, going too fast into turn 14 was only going to mean one thing. It was game over for the Ghost Speed driver. Lap 4, and Brakshock's teammate Lukaszek found out what a small mistake at turn 8 could result in the hard way, ending a difficult day for the team. The corner was already starting to turn into an expensive carbon fibre scrap heap, as Kazdorp got it wrong as well, putting him out the race. Lap 6, and Simoncic was leading from Kish and D'Alessandro, while Birakov was starting to pull away from Costa, who was now under threat from Hoyer. Lap 11 saw the first pit stops, as Kish, D'Alessandro, Costa and Hoyer all came in. D'Alessandro, however, rejoined right behind the battling Araneda and Van der Neet. To get on with his race, he was going to need to clear these cars. Patience wasn't in the Italians' repertoire today. Hitting Araneda was only going to put him at risk of a penalty. The Chilean paid the price, falling to the back of the field. A lap later, both Simoncic and Birakov pitted. Birakov, sadly, double-tapped his speed limiter and sped in the pit lane. That landed him a stop-go penalty, ruining his total race potential. Gosby suffered a similar fate, the only difference being that this was on pit exit, releasing the limiter too early. The same punishment was dished out. It was all the more disappointing as both he and Burlak had jumped both Costa and Hoyer. A mistake from Gosby didn't help matters either. Birakov trudged on, but in trying to catch back up, became the 3rd victim of turn 8. A disappointing end to a race that could have offered so much more for the Invictus driver. At the end of lap 18, Danny Kish appeared to have more pace on the mediums, quickly catching up to Simoncic. With the use of DRS, he made a simple pass, the ACR driver offering little resistance. Behind, drivers on the alternate strategy were causing quite a few headaches for some, as Hoyer and Michaels nearly came to blows. Hoyer was now under threat from Patel, and thanks to DRS, the Brit relieved him of 9th place. A lap later, Hoyer was back for round 2, but got his braking all wrong, and Patel eventually maintained position. Ahead in the battle for 5th, Panzar was giving Costa a cause for concern, but Costa defended well. Panzar tried again, but the Oro Miller driver didn't share his ideas. The third time the charm. Not quite, as a dummy attempt did not go as intended. Patel swept up the free place. Back up front, and Simicic had been keeping up with race leader Kish. Lap 31 came. He had a go, but Kish stood his ground. It was tense times for both drivers. Kish's big call came a couple of laps later, making his final scheduled stop for another set of the mediums. Simicic knew this was where the race could be won, so he drove the next 3 laps as if it was qualifying, leaving nothing on the table. And at the end of lap 35, he dived in, switching to the soft tyres. But had he done enough? The answer was yes. Those quick crossover laps ensured that he rejoined ahead of Kish to take the lead of the race with a softer compound tyre to boot. The overcut had also worked for Panzar, who had changed to the super softs, managing to jump both Costa and Patel. Behind, Michele D'Alessandro was struggling for pace and had been caught by Peter Burlak, who passed him with ease down the main straight. It had been a scrappy race for the reigning champion. And it got even worse. Running off the track at turn 8 cost him valuable time. Lap 39, and things got a little heated between Patel and Hoyer in the battle for 7th. They bumped wheels on multiple occasions. Eventually, it was the Brit who prevailed. They could both be thankful that their fight didn't incur worse results, like the race-ending collision that occurred with Van der Niet and Valeriano attempting to rejoin after a spin. Araneda also hit difficulties in the form of the wall at turns 5 and 6, putting him out of the race. Lap 47, and D'Alessandro was enduring the consequences of his mistake at turn 8. The Italian was easy prey for Robin Panzar. Come the end of the race, the closest battle on track was now for the final points paying positions. Christian Lazaro was on super softs and had caught up to Michi Hoyer in 10th, who had been on his set of mediums since lap 27. Lazaro attempted to pass Hoyer, but both got their braking wrong. The pair remained side by side and had a lucky escape on the exit of turn 2. It was all coming up gold for Jurnej Simicic though. The Slovenian was proving to be unstoppable this year. Once again he crossed the line victorious to make it 3 out of 3 ahead of the 2 Edge Esports cars. But the battle for 7th wasn't done, as Gosby had the slipstream and DRS from Fournier. He pipped the Frenchman by less than 0.06 of a second. Panzar used a different strategy to good effect to finish in 4th, whilst D'Alessandro, understandably, was disappointed with 5th. Mohamed Patel finished in 6th after a lively race, ahead of Gosby and a gutted Fournier. Costa slipped down to 9th by the end, whilst Michi Hoyer held on for the final point in 10th. Lazaro almost managed to take a consolation point for Invictus after Birakov's disappointment, but damage from the contact with Hoyer and a post-race time penalty put pay to those hopes. As inspected in Baku, it indeed was a race of attrition. Jurnej Simicic has had everything his own way so far this season, winning all 3 races and boasting a 24-point lead. Peter Burlak has moved further ahead of Michele D'Alessandro after the reigning champion's uncharacteristically sloppy race. Martin Gosby remains in 4th, whilst Mohamed Patel undoubtedly hopes for more than what he's achieved thus far in 2019. In the Teams Championship, it's ACR that still lead with a 24-point gap back to both Edge and Jean Alesi Esports. ACR Blue currently sit 4th, ahead of Oren Miller, who continue to impress. As was the case after China, 3 teams have yet to get on the board. As Invictus remains one of these, they'll hope that their solid pace and excellent pace in qualifying wasn't a one-off. Thank you very much for watching this highlights video, and join us on the 19th of May on this YouTube channel for live coverage of round 4 of the 2019 Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing World Championship taking place in Montreal, Canada.